Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, that guy, Emmett Muckles. Today is the day that you were blessed to be alive. You opened your eyes, you may have been groggy, but you were given another chance. Today is the day that you were allowed to become vertical. Even if you didn't become vertical, I hope you moved around. What it is you are alive, or you may be just living. The goal is to be alive and experience. If you think you're not a billionaire, think again. 2 to the power of 30. And you might be like, what are you talking about, Emmett? Well, there was this little cell that met this little egg, and then there was a cosmic dance from the power of the universe, and they began to replicate, and 30 days later, you were a billionaire. So now get to the experience. And I also have a guest for you. Today, my guest is Nikole. Nikole, I don't even have your last name. But anyway, she owns her own business and she wants to improve herself through personal development. So here's where she can help you out. We all get this. We all have a job. We all have our hustle. We have our side hustle. We have something that is, kind of our premise in life that makes us money or is our passion. And sometimes we get burned out. And her focus is to help you to throw some water on the flame of that burnout. Hi, Nikole.
Hey, Emmett. Thanks for having me.
Now, see,
I'm so excited.
I messed up. I messed up totally because I do know your last name. It's Stansfield.
No worries.
But that's
cool.
About being human.
Yeah.
How did you come to this? How did you recognize that people are burned out and you had something to offer?
Well, I burned out myself. I burned out hardcore last June. I have been a business owner since 2014 and I did digital marketing, right? So I was the marketer. I don't like to think of myself as being like the super pushy, slick marketer, doing all that stuff, but I was making the most money that I had ever made in my business and I was really successful.
Yep.
And I started noticing some things and I didn't know what's going on. Like we'd finish a big project, like a website launch, which is a lot of work, months and months of work. And at the end, instead of being like, I'm really excited that I got that done, I was like frustrated and I was like, well, there's going to be another one or the client's going to be frustrated with it or they aren't going to like this because they're really picky or whatever. And then I did something, I gave a presentation, which I love to do. And I had so little energy. I had to go home and take a nap afterwards.
Yeah.
It just, everything drained me and I was angry and I was frustrated and I was hiding from people. I was grumpy. I didn't want to take feedback. All of my ideas just dried up, which was terrifying as a marketer and an entrepreneur. That's like my bread and butter. And I had nothing. I didn't care. I had nothing to give to anybody.
You were like, it's a wrap. I'm done. Ball game. Call it over.
Yeah. I was really scared because that's not me. I'm normally super busy and doing a lot of things and way overcommitted and running around and doing all this stuff and being this amazing high achiever, right?
Yeah. And you hit that wall.
I did. It was really scary because I would go through my week and I would do like 15 minutes of work and then I'd have to take an hour-long break.
Wow, that's bad.
Right? I'd read a client email and I'd have to go like rage quit. I would be so angry. I'd have to go and rant for 30 minutes because I was so mad about this, whatever, someone asking me to do something small, right?
Right.
And so it was like, I almost felt like I had work week sickness. So I'd go through the work week and I'd use caffeine and sugar to survive and like make it through my day. And then on the weekend, I'd just sit there and I'd have no energy, almost like I was recovering from being sick, but I wasn't. I didn't have anything left to give anyone, even myself. Do you want me to go on, or do you want to ask me a question?
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So you recognize, when did you recognize, like, I am suffering from burnout? Like, I'm done. When did you diagnose yourself?
I was really lucky because my husband is a teacher, and burnout's really common in school, right? So he was taking a burnout course, and he started to tell me some things. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. That I'm that person. I don't want to learn. I don't want to take feedback. I'm not taking my lunch break. I'm eating my lunch at my desk, all that stuff. And I didn't want to build relationships, any of those things. So I realized, I was like, oh, I must be experiencing burnout. So I self-diagnosed, and I took a little quiz online, and right, because that's official.
That's official.
And then I took a week off last year, like no commitments. And I was gonna be better in that week. I was gonna get over burnout, and everything was gonna be fine and go back to normal. And by the end of that week, I was more tired than the beginning of the week, and I could barely go to the store for more food, which I needed more food because I was eating cereal for breakfast and lunch and thought about it for dinner a couple nights. And like, I was so low, and it was like planning a trip to go climb a 14er to go to the grocery store 5 minutes away. It was paralyzing.
But what did you come up with? When was the moment you said, I got to fix this?
Yeah, it was after the end of that week. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to be a 1 week fix. This is going to be a lot of changes, and I have to figure out what's going on. So that was a mix of coaching and a mix of learning some meditation, mindfulness meditation, and doing self-care and walking away from a client. So I lost money, and I had to decide what was best for me. So I left a lot of commitments. I said no to a lot of things that I was doing that I didn't enjoy, didn't give me energy.
Did people say to you, what do you mean no?
Yeah. People were like, well, you'll just get out of it. It'll just, happen. You'll just feel better one day, and it'll be fine. And people were like, just go exercise or sleep more. Right? That was the feedback I got. And then I luckily did not get this feedback, but I've asked other people who've been burnt out what they got. And some people are like, oh, well, you're not trying hard enough, or you're weak if you're burning out.
Right.
So you're definitely not.
So what was your strategy? I mean, you've accumulated some data, albeit it's emotional data, which is hard to quantify and hard to put into boxes and hard to find solutions for when you're doing it yourself. It may be easier for someone to look at the outside and go, okay, I need you to do this, a couple Xanax, maybe. Right? But you know what I'm saying? But when you're doing it yourself, because it's probably like a form of depression that you were going through as well. And that can just throw your whole system off. So how did you come up with measures to diagnose yourself and to help other people? Yeah.
So I'm going to totally go into that and share my methodology that I've created and some stats. Really quickly, though, I do want to touch on, I was worried about being depressed because my mood swings were crazy low. And so I went online and I worked with an online counselor for a month. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that I was showing some signs, but I wasn't showing them frequently enough to be in depression. And I got help quickly. So for anyone who's like feeling some of those things and like, am I depressed? It's actually pretty inexpensive to go online and get that support so you can find out where you're at. And that was really important for me as a part of my process.
Good.
So I've created a 9-step system to help people beat burnout. And the first thing when you're in burnout, you're just overwhelmed by everything. So you want to see small successes with things that you can control, right?
Right.
So adding more things to your to-do list is just, no, everybody hates that. That's just another thing to do on your huge list, and you're not thinking about anything that is moving you forward because you don't know what's going on. So the first thing that we focus on is physical habits. Some of the patterns that you've got into that we want to shift, like eating lunch at your desk. Over 50% of workers believe that they don't have time for lunch. And 30% of workers in America eat their lunch at their desk. 30%.
I've done that before, but you know why I ate lunch at my desk? That's because I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Like, I'm salary. I am going to eat this. Why are you leaving? Look, man, I didn't take a lunch. Leave me alone.
Right? So I don't care if it happens every once in a while, or you choose to do it because you're working on a big project every once in a while. It's when it becomes a pattern, though, that's when it's something that it's like, you're not eating and working. We can't multitask. So one of those things we're not doing very well, right? And we can't even take a 30-minute break, downtime. What we're doing is more important than our health or eating food. And then we're more likely to snack or use caffeine to go and get that pick-me-up.
Yeah.
So there's 3 pillars to this system. And so we start with habits, and then another pillar is building balance between personal and professional life. And then the third pillar is figuring out how to prioritize yourself.
Okay.
And there's 3 steps in each pillar. I can go into more detail if you'd like.
Of course.
Okay, cool. So in creating habits, we talk about mental health, we talk about physical health, and we talk about emotional health. A lot of times emotions are a way that you can identify what's going on for you. So one of the ways that I pick up, I might be pushing myself too hard, or my energy might be low, is when I'm really grumpy. That's one of my signs, is being a grumpy woman, as my husband calls it. So I know that I need to take a break. I need to take some downtime if that's showing up for me.
Okay.
And then creating balance between my personal and professional life. That's all about finding time for fun and taking downtime and practicing daily self-care.
So is that difficult, especially for entrepreneurs who are doing everything themselves? Sometimes they don't make that separation between life and work. It's kind of a gelatinous something or another.
Sounds like you've had a similar experience, Emmett.
I was born to hustle.
Good.
That's my motto. We get it done.
That's awesome. What I would ask you is, when do you take time for yourself? A lot of times.
I take it hard now.
Good.
Trust me. It's to the fact where my wife's like, "Are you going to move?" No.
Good. That's good, because sometimes as entrepreneurs, especially when we're like hustle and we create a startup and we start making money and it's great, we run our business like it's still a startup. We're trying to do everything. We don't delegate stuff. We don't get other virtual assistants or people to help us with things. So it's like, if you think about it, a full-time employee, they get paid holidays, they get a 2-week vacation, and they get sick days. And they have a time of day when they're off, when they don't have to work anymore, right? And yet, as entrepreneurs, paid holidays on like national holidays are like, oh, those are days when my clients don't bug me, so I do other projects. Right? Sick days, you work half the day in bed, so you're being sick and recovering, but you're still working.
Yeah.
2-week vacation is like non-existent as entrepreneurs. I get laughs whenever I ask them if they have a 2-week vacation planned.
And see, this is my whole point. So I worked for a European company that was in America.
Okay.
In the door, they gave you 17 days. After, I would think about 3-4 years, I had like almost a month of vacation time. So I would say, hey, guess what? I'm going to Europe. And they'd say, bye.
That's awesome.
But then I left there and started working for an American company, and it was a shock to the system. I was like, you guys work way too much.
Yeah, we're one of the lowest countries in paid time off. And as entrepreneurs, we don't take any time off. People think that we're sitting around in our pajamas working all day, right?
Right.
And just doing whatever we want because we're at home and it's fine. the what we need to do as workers as well as entrepreneurs is take a psychological break. So you have to stop doing the things that you're doing when you're working and do something different in order to take that separation between work and then your life. So when you end your day as an entrepreneur, as a worker, as a 9-to-5 employee, whatever it looks like for you, if you go for a walk or you read a book or you do something that takes care of you, there you fit in that daily self-care. Then you're able to take that break and actually enjoy what comes after and be present. A lot of times when people don't have a good work-life balance, which is what combats burnout, they say that, they're worried about losing relationships with their family, or they don't give enough time to their spouse, or they don't even have time for themselves.
Yeah. So, where do I want to go with this? I know what I want to go with this.
Okay.
Have you come across a client that was just resistant to your methodology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that there are times when our culture reinforces that if you're in burnout, you're successful. And that's okay.
No, if I'm in burnout, you better put the house in the garage, because I'm going to be terrible to everybody. I'm going to let everybody know. I'm going to be like a 2-year-old.
I know, right? However, what do we always say to each other? I'm so stressed. I'm so burnt out. I'm so tired, but I'm making money. So this must be what success looks like.
Well, I've been through a few things. Okay. I'm not as young as I look. So now I know time gets shorter the older you get. Oh, I need to write that down.
That's some good wisdom.
Time literally speeds up, because when we're young, the future, we really have no concept of the time continuum. Remember when you were in 5th grade? That school year seemed like it took forever.
Yeah.
Now, your friend from college will say, I'm getting married in 2 years. And you go, okay. And then next thing you know, snap, I don't have any clothes to wear. Time speeds up as we move along. So, this is part of the billionaire lifestyle. It's about being a human being, a person of the sun. We are all of the sun, whether you're black, white, pink, Puerto Rican, whatever. We are all people of the sun. Hue, the color. We are in the image of man. And people are getting this mixed up nowadays too. Anyway. And then we're beings. Except, like you and I are discussing currently, people have this weird view of the being part. They think it equates to something that we have conjured up in the last 150 years, which is currency. And like they always say, you can make as much as you want, but a moment after death, everybody's at the equal pay grade.
Yeah, doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. So how did you launch this as a business? How did you find these people that needed your help?
That's a great question. So on my website, I have a quiz. It's 2 minutes and you can go and take it, and it gives you a way to see, are some of the signs of burnout showing up for me? So signs of burnout include having low energy, feeling a lack of confidence, and your work not having meaning. So all those things I listed that I started feeling, angry, frustrated, lack of creative ideas, all that stuff, those are all signs of burnout.
Yeah. Not
wanting to be around people, all those things, feeling cynical, all that stuff is burnout.
Well, I've been burnt out since I was like 4. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, like, we can be at different levels of burnout, right? Yeah. Like after the holidays, you can be burnt out from your family. Be like, I don't want to see you guys for another year. Like, give me some time. Or you can be burnt out at the end of finals, but it takes like a couple days and you're better. I'm talking about burnout that is to the point where it's like, I almost walked away from my business. Oh. I didn't, but I was at that point where I was like, I don't know what to do. And what ended up happening for me and what ended up coming out of it was that I wasn't being authentic to who I am. So when I was in burnout, I was being fake. And I got to discover who I am, what do I want, what are my needs, and what's best for me. So that third pillar that we didn't talk about is all about what drives you, saying no with boundaries, and how to be an intuitive decision maker.
No with boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Let's delve into that. What is no with boundaries? No, but. That didn't sound right. You know what I'm saying.
No worries. A lot of times when people say no, they feel guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like, oh, well, I should go do this. I should go do that. So first thing, stop shoulding on yourself, right? I totally stole that from Tony Robbins, but it's a great concept. When you say you should do something, then you're telling yourself that someone else has this expectation, or you create an expectation and you need to go and fulfill it. And nobody has that expectation but you. Someone else may be trying to put it on you, but you don't have to listen to that. So secondly, no is a complete sentence. If you're looking for an excuse why not to go, or trying to make it a logical reason, then you should probably say no, because it probably is something you don't want to go to. You feel obligated to go to. Yeah. And I was spending so much of my time doing obligatory things that I felt like I had to. So when I started, I said yes to everything. So when I gave myself permission to say no, then I could say, okay, what gives me energy? That's what I'm going to say yes to. What doesn't give me energy? That's what I'm going to say no to. So I've said no to like family events, gatherings, things that I'd committed to already, but that I had super low energy. And I realized, and I was taught this concept, if it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for them. So if I feel like I'm obligated to go to something and I don't want to, I'm going to bring a bad attitude to the event. I'm going to sit, I'm going to pout, I'm going to be grouchy, I'm going to pull down everybody else's energy.
Yeah, I've witnessed those people before. Like, why are you here?
Right?
Why did you show up? You know, just go do you in the corner or back home. Get your fuzzy slippers on and hit the Apple TV and just enjoy your time with you.
Yeah. And it's not okay. Like we were talking about earlier when I said that I think that we support burnout more. You don't hear someone go up and be like, oh my gosh, I took care of myself today. And everybody's like, good for you. Yay, you did self-care. Everybody's like, I'm burnt out, but I'm hustling. I'm making money.
You know, but that's a very American thing, I believe it is, because we are stuck with this notion of the Industrial Revolution, which means the mindset of the 20th century. And we're in the 21st century. And this is one of the new premises of the billionaire lifestyle is let that go. 2000, the industrial age died. We are in the Aquarian age and it is anew. The reason I'm saying that is because if you look abound, there are changes happening in the world that you would never have realized would have come to fruition. As far as people, as far as ideologies, they're all changing. The other thing is we are now in a different state. We are not in the industrial age. We are in the information and technology age, which means we should be less burned out.
Right? But it's always available. We always have that tech. And I'll talk to people and they've got their phones and they're like, how am I supposed to have a work-life balance when I see the notifications up at the top of my screen and I just have to scroll down? I just have to check what's in that email. And it's the weekend and they have to check it. It's almost being addicted to our businesses because we're promoting that hard work ethic. And if I'm working hard or if I'm really busy, if I'm addicted to being busy, then that means I'm successful.
Does this transfer over to those people who are working that corporate job as well?
Absolutely. I was in a corporate environment once and went like right out of college, and it was awful. It was awful, Emmett. I was a horrible boss, and it just was a really bad experience, and I definitely was burnt out from it and from the experience and all of that. But there were a lot of things that I did like everything wrong. So I got out of that, which was a good thing. And I was in a place where I felt like I didn't have the tools to be successful, and I didn't feel like I was appreciated or rewarded for any of the work I did or acknowledged. And I was always like, since I was salary, I had to do all the work, right? I wasn't hourly like my employees and the people who I was managing. I was salary. So when everything fell downhill, I got to take all the blame. I got to do all the work. I got to fill in all the gaps. And because I wasn't holding people accountable, I was trying to be their friends, right? So they walked all over me. I was a 21-year-old manager in a corporate retail environment as an assistant store leader. So I got eaten alive, quite frankly.
Yeah, but you were young too. You didn't have any life skills ready for that, which many people don't. Well, after 21.
I'd like to think I learned a few things since then.
So how can someone apply that? So from what I'm hearing, your focus is derived from the entrepreneur. But you could probably really help more than that, because here's where it equates to me. It equates to moms or that parent who is doing everything, or that person who is doing everything, not in their work life, but in their personal life, where they don't take time for themselves. It works for the entrepreneur. It works for the corporate person. Literally, it could work for anybody, because you can literally get burnt out from your life.
Yeah. Last year I was burnt out from my business and personally from all of it. I just couldn't handle any of it.
All right. So if we're on an elevator.
Okay.
No, let me backtrack. Let me get the story right. So you and I are walking into this building together. You see this beautiful brown man walking in front of you, heading toward the elevator, and he presses the button, and you're going up too, and he gets on, and he's standing there next to you in that awkward silence that's in elevators, and then he looks at you and goes, "Hi, I'm Emmett. How are you?" And you respond, I'm
great. My name's Nikole, and I would ask you what you do, Emmett.
I do a lot of everything. What do you do?
I help entrepreneurs who are successful and struggle to get out of bed in the morning to work through burnout and create a healthy work-life balance so that they love what they do again.
To my reply is, do you have a card?
So right. My feedback, right, that I would give, I have a couple tips for people that they can take small steps to start seeing some progress, to be like, oh, maybe this is what's showing up for me. Maybe this could help me get a little bit of energy back, so I care a little bit more again.
Okay.
So one of those tips, I know that mindfulness meditation, 5 minutes a day, is one of the key things that helped me get out of burnout. And I was super judgmental towards it when I first heard about it. I was like, only hippies meditate. I'm not going to meditate.
Let me stop you for a minute. What is mindful meditation?
Mindfulness meditation is focusing on being present. It's not about religion or anything like that. It's about breathing, and it's about being present, releasing emotions, things that you want to work through. For example, when I am meditating, I feel like I'm in the Matrix and afterwards. And I feel like the bullets that I used to step into and have to get hit by are now just whizzing by me.
Way to go, Neo and Trinity built into one.
Yeah. So you can do ones on YouTube. They're guided ones. You can just sit and breathe and with a timer, and it doesn't take very much time. 5 minutes is all I started with, and I'm only at 10 minutes now. I meditated today before we had our conversation because I want to be present. I want to be focused on what we're talking about and not trying to think about, oh, there's all these other things I need to do tonight or for my business or for whatever it is that like monkey mind that happens in our brains a lot.
Yeah.
It helps quiet that for us. And sorry, this is a really cool thing.
Go for it.
There's the science behind it. So when you're in burnout, and you're responding to things and something happens, a challenge, and you just respond and you just react. Meditation helps you become more reflective, and you can take a beat before responding to things. So you've trained your brain and the neurons to be reactive. Meditation helps you train your brain to be reflective instead.
All right, that was one. I cut you off when we were talking about you're on a roll there. So what's next?
So another one is daily self-care. If you think about 4 things that you like to do, and then you think about your week, can you spend 15 minutes a day on yourself doing one of those things? And I don't care what it is. If it's sitting and watching TV, that totally counts as long as you have energy at the end of it. If you have more energy at the end of it, then you get to justify doing whatever it is that makes you happy. So for me, that's taking a walk, reading a book, taking a bath, or taking a nap. So I incorporate that into my daily routine once every day so that then it serves me, I have like a kind of a pulse on where my energy level is, because I want to give my energy to people from an overflow and abundance instead of the last dregs that are left in my cup.
All right. So we have mindfulness meditation.
Mm-hmm.
We have pay attention to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next one?
So another one that is really simple is taking a lunch break. Like we talked about it earlier, and stepping away from your desk. If you can, combining it with taking a walk outside. Nature always really helps reset and helps you change that perspective, gives you a breather on what's going on for you.
Awesome. So where can people find you? What is your website?
They can go to my website at myintuitioncoach.com. And I have the 9 steps to beat burnout and love what you do again is a workshop that I do. And so they can sign up to join me for that workshop and learn more about each of the steps. I go into more detail about what that looks like.
Do you have an Instagram, a Pinterest? You look like a Pinterest person.
I actually don't have Pinterest, but I do have Instagram.
So what's your Instagram?
It's Instagram.com/myintuitioncoach.
I know I stalked that earlier, so.
I know. I'm glad there's like a fine line between when you have one business that's marketing and is social media management and another one that's like doing coaching, and you want to be authentic, but at the same time when you're managing everyone else's Instagram and stuff, you don't really care so much about posting all the time. On your own.
Are you doing any webinars? Are you doing any speaking? Do you have anything where people can kind of get a sense of you or more of you?
Yeah, that's my workshop. So that's a great opportunity to learn how I help people and what I do. I can walk them through the steps. If they want to get more support and they know, hey, I'm in burnout and I need help, and I need like a personalized solution, then they can get on a strategy session with me. We talk about where they're at, what's going on, where they want to be, and what's in their way, and how they can move forward.
What if somebody wants you for the social media thing?
They can also reach out to me for that. So I do social media marketing, but I'm technically a copywriter, so digital strategy is something that is my focus. Your eyes got really big right there.
Yeah, I did. Hey, shameless self-promotion. That's how I think of it. Shameless. Like, why has Emmett got that tattoo of a billionaire lifestyle on his forehead and his back? Shameless self-promotion.
I'm a marketer. I can't help it.
Right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle. I really enjoyed you.
Thank you so much for having me, Emmett. It was great to chat with you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how it typically ends, and it's going to be very much the same thing. Remember, when you get out of bed at some point, or you just go into the bathroom, I'm talking about for cleaning, go into the shower, Once you let the water cleanse the energy of the day off you, or it could be in the morning where you're cleansing the night from you, get out the shower first, wipe all the dew off you, and then drop your towel. Because that's how you came to this place. You really must appreciate that which is you. Look in the mirror, wipe the fog off, and just sit there and go, this is me. This is the wrinkle that I have here. This is that scar that I got when I was 8-year-old when I fell down. This is my little chicken flappy arm thing. This is me. Enjoy that, because no one else is like you. No one else is like you. We've tried. We've gotten close, but we cannot make a human like humans can make humans. So that lets you know you are as unique and as numerous as the stars in the sky. Get close to the mirror, look deep into your eye, and notice that it is like a nebulae in the sky, and above, so below. As you think it, you can bring it into reality, into this world. You can work it with your hands, you can craft it, you can communicate it to someone, and they can help you bring it into the world. So it starts in the mind, comes out through the body, as above, so below. When you meet someone else with the nebulae in their eye, treat them with love, honor, respect. And if you don't think you're loved, look back in that mirror and say, I love you. The next time, love you all. Peace.